If you've clicked on this video, one thing is clear. You are not average. But the bitter truth is, your habits are. Today, there's a pandemic spreading across the globe. No, I'm not talking about a virus. I'm talking about a mental disease called mediocrity. Socrates once said, "No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." Are you truly living, or are you just existing? Today, we pull back the curtain on the lies you've been told. We are diving deep into the worlds of David Goggins, Friedrich Nietzsche, and neuroscience. The Goggins lesson, the identity crisis. The story begins in David Goggins' office. A 25-year-old man walks in looking for guidance. He says, "David, I've tried everything. I can't lose weight. I don't know what to do with my life. Maybe the army, maybe a gym, maybe a business." Goggins looked him dead in the eyes with that X-ray vision that reads the soul. He later said, "I asked him a few personal questions, and within 5 minutes, I knew everything. The kid's problem wasn't his weight. It wasn't his career. His problem was that he had surrendered. Every time things got hard, he took the exit ramp. Every time he felt pain, he retreated. He had zero confidence because he had zero victories over himself. That, my friends, is mediocrity, the just enough to get by mindset. The biology of comfort. The frog brain we've made comfort our God. But here is a psychological fact called the frog brain bias. Your brain, specifically your primitive limbic system, was not designed for greatness. It was designed for survival and safety. When you take a risk, your brain screams, "Stop! Danger!" When you want to wake up at 4 a.m., your brain whispers, "Stay in bed, it's cold outside." You aren't lazy. You're a slave to your biology. And mediocrity is the name of that slavery. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." But who you truly are won't be found on a velvet sofa. It will be forged in the fires of struggle. The science of willpower, the brain muscle. This isn't just motivational talk. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman recently highlighted a discovery, a brain area called the Anterior Mid-Cingulate Cortex, AMCC. Research shows that this part is smaller in people who are sedentary or lack drive. In athletes and warriors, it's massive. But here's the catch. This part only grows when you do something you don't want to do. When you drag yourself to the gym or take that freezing cold shower, this part literally physically expands. This is your willpower muscle. If you aren't struggling, your brain is literally shrinking. The 1% create pain tolerance. The 1% who change the world don't have magic powers. They have pain tolerance. They look in the mirror and say, "I don't care if it's possible. I care if I'm willing to die for it." Goggins says that if you were forced to live with these people, the ones constantly climbing peak after peak, you wouldn't be able to stand them. Why? Because their fire would expose your hollow excuses and naked fears. Why are you unhappy? Because there is a massive gap between your current self and your potential self. You fill that void with scrolling, junk food, and cheap hits of dopamine to numb the pain your soul is giving you. The 40% rule. The San Diego night recalled that cold night in San Diego. David Goggins decided to run a 100-mile race with zero training. By mile 70, his body broke. He sat in a chair, his white socks soaked red with blood. His kidneys were failing. Every logic Every doctor, every cell in his body said, "Stop, or you will die." In that darkness, 99.9% of people quit. Goggins tried to find a reason. "I'm doing it for charity," he thought. His mind replied, "Bullshit. Nobody dies for charity." Then a raw, primal voice emerged from the silence. No logic, no excuses, just a brutal truth. "Because I am one hard motherfucker." That wasn't motivation. That was an identity shift. He taped his broken feet, stood up, and finished the race. This led to the 40% rule. When your mind says you are done, you've only used 40% of your capability. There's still 60% left in the reserve tank. Conclusion: the choice. In the 1960s, scientist John Calhoun created Universe 25, a paradise for mice with unlimited food and no danger. They became lazy, stopped breeding, turned violent, and eventually, the entire colony died. Comfort killed them. You are living in Universe 25. Your sofa and your Netflix are slowly murdering your ambition. Today, stop the self-love lies. True self-love is loving yourself enough to refuse to let yourself rot in mediocrity. The hell yes or no rule. If your goal doesn't terrify you, it's too small. The 40%. Push. When you feel finished, do 5 minutes more. That's where the growth is. Kill the victim. Your problems are yours. So are the solutions. One day, you will be on your deathbed. Two people will stand before you. The person you became and the person you could have been. If there is a huge gap between them, that is hell. If they look the same, that is heaven. The choice is yours. Don't like this video. Don't subscribe. Unless you are serious. If you are ready to kill the virus of mediocrity, drop your city or state in the comments. Let's see where the 1% are hiding. Leave your mark. Average people just scroll. The 1% take action.